Hi everyone, welcome to this week's IGTV. I'm also doing a little experiment and I am live in my parenting Facebook group, It Takes a Village. So hi everyone, I apologize if I'm going back and forth between cameras. I'm just doing a little experiment today. I want to talk to you about ending entitlement in your teen. Entitlement is a really hard pill to swallow. I've got a lot of notes, so I'm going to be looking at my notepad as well because I want to stay on track. Okay, so here's what it looks like. Just an example. Entitlement in your teen is like they want rides everywhere, right? Because they're above walking, taking their bike, or getting the bus. Like if you're not going to drive them, they're not going to go. Or they'll eat well if you cook for them. But if you want them to cook, oh, I'm sorry, I don't do that. They'll buy crap, basically, if you don't cook, right? They'll wear clean clothes, like normal, like we want them to, when you do the laundry. But if you want them to do the laundry, no, they're just fine with dirty things that have been sitting on the floor, piled in a moldy thing with their leftover sandwich, right? So basically, here's the definition of entitlement. Inherently deserving of privileges or special treatment. Just because they just are deserving of privilege or special treatment. Basically, your teen wants all the benefits without the work. They want the benefits without the work, and they want their time, energy, and resources. Their life is more important than yours. And so this is how things feel entitled. And it is a hard pill to swallow when your teenager is showing up as an entitled, spoiled brat. Really, really hard. Okay, my name is Allie Payne. I am a certified life coach, certified relationship systems coach. I'm one of only 13 people in Canada to hold, only 70 people in Canada certified with both designations. I was a very troubled teen. I was also a very entitled teen. I've been an entitled adult, actually. I'm not going to kid you. And I have worked primarily with parents of teens for the last 16 years to help them build the mutual respect and meaningful connection that you're looking for, but sometimes feels so incredibly elusive that it's really, really, really frustrating. So I have also made all of these mistakes. I've raised 2 children into adults, and were they entitled? Yeah, they were. Okay, so I'm going to get into this. All right. This is just an example. I want you to put a yes in the comments, okay? If you're watching on Instagram, I'd love a follow. If you're on YouTube, hit subscribe. And if you're already here in my parenting Facebook group, It Takes a Village, thank you for watching. This is when your teenager shows up as entitled. Have you felt this way? Shocked. Like literally like, what? What in ever-loving reality gives you the impression that I am your bank account, your chauffeur, your cook, your short order cook, your maid? What ever gave you that impression? So shock, and then I think there's dismayed. There's like a deep sadness, right? Yes, yes. There's like a deep sadness when your teen shows up as really entitled and deserving of all these privileges. There's like this deep sadness of going, oh man, that is not, no, that does not reflect my values and how I believe. You might be saying this to yourself, this does not reflect your values and what you believe and how you've raised them. So there's like this deep dismay in there. Embarrassed. Woo! That's me. Hi. I have felt embarrassed. I have, deep sadness because somehow you feel you failed. Thank you. Yes. And I think that comes from feeling embarrassed too. Like when your teen does this in front of other people, your teen does it in front of wait for it. It gets rich. Does it in front of family members, like grandparents, right? Who grew up and were raised in a very different era. And your teen shows up as super entitled, and then it's embarrassing. I know I've done it So embarrassing is one of them. Disrespected. You just feel outright disrespected because they're treating you in a way that is like you're a commodity. Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. Because of the judgment of family. That's right. That's the embarrassing, like the shaming part, right? So you feel disrespected. You feel angry, even outraged at like, what are you thinking? Like, how could you possibly do this? And unappreciated. When you feel unappreciated in front of your entitled teen, yes, because somehow they believe they are just entitled to you, like, and all of your time and resources and skills and abilities, like it's at their beck and call or something. So unappreciated, used, totally used when your teenager comes to you when they want something, like only when they want something. It's hard not to feel used and then totally and taken for granted. If any of those have sound familiar, type yes in the comments. Yeah? Yes. Yes. Okay. All right. So, okay. I'm just going to follow my notes because otherwise, squirrel. Okay. So here's one of the most common, if you're like me, if you're a parent, yeah, heck yeah. If you're a parent like I am and was raised by very loving and well-meaning parents who didn't have any of this information, okay, then this is probably what you're doing about it to end this entitlement. This is probably what you're doing about it, okay? You question yourself because you're like, wait a minute, have I been too easy? Have I been too easy? Am I being a pushover? Maybe I don't think I was. Like maybe you don't think you were a pushover. Maybe you don't think you've been too easy, but it sure makes you question yourself when your teenager's showing up as an entitled brat, right? Okay, so the next thing that you do after you start to question, like, why is this showing up and what happened, is you move to traditional discipline. Of course, because you were raised like me, so you move to traditional discipline, right? If you're just joining in and you watch my eyes going back and forth, it's because I'm doing an experiment where I am live on both Instagram and in my parenting Facebook group, It Takes a Village. So that's why I'm looking back and forth at two screens right now. Okay, so you ground them, right? You ground them. You're like, I'm sorry, that's a hell no. You won't be treating me like that. So you ground them for being rude. You take their phone or you take their tech. You are like, no. Don't be all spoiled and snarky to me if I won't drive you somewhere. So then you start removing like social connections. Maybe it is like time with friends, parties, sleepovers. Maybe it's even sporting, hobbies, things like that. You're not having it. You're not having it. And so you go to traditional discipline. And that's not working. Or you move to a transaction. And you're trying to teach your teen, look, you don't get this life that I have sacrificed for you to have that is a little bit beyond you understanding what I have given young Padawan to have what it is that I have attempted to give you. You don't get all that for nothing. So you create this transactional thing between you and your teen where now you go, oh no, I've been too easy. I've given too much. I need to teach them they don't get anything from me until they give something first. Okay, so you're teaching them that unless they do something that you want or need, they will not get anything from you, like a ride to the mall or to the use of your car, right? So for instance, you take out the garbage and only then I'll consider doing what you asked, or you clean your room, or you help with the kitchen and dishes, and then I'll do this. Or you got to do your homework. You sit down and you do your homework and maybe try handing in an assignment before I'm going to give you a ride anywhere, right? So we do this transactional thing. You do this first, and only then will I, because then I'm not, then, right? Then you're not raising an entitled teen because you're teaching them they don't get something for free, right? Not really. No, it is not too late to apply this to adult. The tween, teen, and early adult brain are actually all developmentally the same. So it is not too late. Okay, So this doesn't work because, number one, it's either complete deprivation. It's either complete deprivation using control, like these traditional disciplinary methods. It's either complete deprivation using control, which relies on, so I'm talking now about grounding, taking the phone, removing social interaction. That doesn't work because it's relying on inflicting pain to spur your teen into action. You're relying on inflicting emotional pain via isolation or sadness or withdrawal, okay, if they're phone, right? In order to spur them into action. And you're in your head, you're thinking, well, I'll make it bad enough that they will do what I asked, that's the definition of punishment. Which we know psychologically it does not work. That is the definition of punishment. Is in using control or an action to inflict an emotional pain in order to change behavior. That's the definition of punishment, and we know that that doesn't work. Or when you're doing they have to do something for me first before I'm going to do something for them because I'm ending entitlement, and that way they're never just going to come to me and ask and think they can get something for free, because that's not how the world works. So, but what you're teaching them is that's actually bribery. That's the definition of bribery. It's transactional. It's very tit for tat. It's like if they want something from you, they have to give something, right? But then what if your teenager flips that? You teach them this transactional behavior, this transactional relationship, where beyond basic needs, like they have to give to you to get something from you. But what if they start to flip that on its head? What if they flip that on you? What if in a year's time, you are asking your teenager for something totally reasonable and meaningful that needs to be done, and your teenager says to you, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that unless you do this for me first. Do you see where I'm getting at? So now you create this transactional relationship, this tit for tat, but your teen flips it on its head, and before you know it, you have this whole power struggle going, because neither one of you is going to do anything for the other one unless the other one acts first. Now it's like, you're just waiting, like who can not blink? It's like a staring contest. It's not going to work. Okay. Okay. So what does work? What is the counterintuitive thing that works to end the entitlement in your teen? Okay. So ending entitlement, the antithesis of entitlement is respect. Okay. So entitlement in itself lacks respect for other people, whether it is somewhat, okay, their authority, which is like parent-teen we're talking about, right? Which a lot of parents share with me, is that the reason that they're so upset and frustrated and hurt by their teenagers' entitled behavior is because it lacks respect for you as a parent and your authority. Okay, well, that's fair. That's a whole other video, but ending entitlement means building the actual respect that I think you're asking for, that you want, that you both deserve as human beings. I'm not saying authority is equal, but I'm saying you both deserve respect as a human being, okay? So the feeling or experience that you want is to feel respected by your teen, where they don't see you as like the candy store, the endless bank, the person who meets all their needs, you're available at a whim, like you have no plans, or whatever you had planned, like you're just less than, because like that's you're not trying to create that. You want something the opposite. And that means that you need to lead from and model that respect so that you actually get what you give, but in a healthy way. So if you give respect, if you model respect, you are a lot more likely to get respect. And I understand that's counterintuitive, and here is why. Because if this wasn't modeled for you, which it was not modeled for me, and I can tell you I didn't model this well for my kids when they were young, because I'm a control freak. I love control. Yes, I am. I'm a control freak. And so I truly believed that I deserved respect, and it was my children's job to show me that respect because I was the parent. I was the adult. That is how I rolled. Okay, so if your parents didn't model respect for you, and you came from an environment that was more about commanding control and authoritarian, which is quite normal for parents in our generation, okay, you might have just heard me say that ending entitlement, the counterintuitive thing to ending entitlement, means you need to be a doormat, you need to be nicer, and you need to just let them get away with bad behavior, and definitely don't set boundaries. That's just, okay. If those are the thoughts that just came up for you, when I said you need to do something counterintuitive to give the respect that you want to get, to model and show what you want your teen to actually do, if you just had a thought that means you're a pushover or a doormat and be nicer and you can't have boundaries and that's gonna like create a runaway train with entitlement, if those are the thoughts that just came up or are currently stopping you from creating the change that you want, then you are definitely in the right place watching this video. Because I thought all of those things too with my teens. And trust me, as I said, I am a control freak. I love control. Ask any of my friends. I love control. Ask my kids. So it's counterintuitive thinking to get the exact thing that you want, okay? So modeling respect, but modeling respect actually means saying no. What? I know. Sit with that one for a second. Modeling respect actually means saying no. When, number one, the request doesn't feel right for you. It feels off with your values and beliefs, which means it requires a bit more discussion first. Because I'll be the first to say, your teenager is not going to have the same values and beliefs as you are. They are an autonomous human being, not a robot, nor a cookie cutter image. So they're going to have different values and beliefs than you do. And it will happen, of course, if it has not already, that their request or what they want of you or what they're asking you to take part in is outside of your values and beliefs, or something just feels off. And so respect means saying no and being willing to have like a further conversation to find out like what are they trying to create? What's the experience they're trying to create? What is it they actually want, so that you can see, not guarantee, see if there's a way that you can participate in that with them in a way that does feel, it might still feel off, as in it might still feel uncomfortable. It might feel uncomfortable for you, but it won't feel as offside with your values and beliefs, okay? You do say no. Respect means saying no when it doesn't work with your time, energy, and resources. If you don't have time and it's going to push you or create a sticky situation or get you in trouble at work, or it's going to put your finances in the red for that month or that year, it's going to, then say no. No means building respect. But here's the fine line, okay? With this second one about saying no when it doesn't fit within your resources. This is a very, very tricky line because parents sacrifice. Of course. Hello? Parents do give more than anyone who does not care for. I don't care if you're a parent, biological, I don't care. If you don't currently care for another being, child, adult, elderly, whatever, then you are not required to sacrifice anything outside of like yourself. As a parent, you are normally sacrificing. Yes, you are sacrificing, like you're buying food and you're cooking it and you're driving and you're running your teenager's life administration to some degree because they're not old enough to handle that kind of responsibility or understand that level of detail. So are you already going above and beyond what is normal for you as a person? Yes, that's called being a parent. However, entitlement is created when you are uncertain of that line and you take every request your teenager makes of you as a requirement of that same sacrifice as just normal being a parent. And this is also normal for our generation because there's this messed up correlation that morality, like being a good person, means that you just like give your children, like you're a good parent. So of course you do all of the things and you give them all the things because you're a good parent. And then you're using your kind of skewed definition of what a good parent is that is actually feeding their entitlement because you're afraid to say no. So when you constantly give, when you constantly are giving, and you feel resentful, then it's time to look at your line of what you believe a good parent should, that's very much in quotations, should do for their teenager, and where perhaps should you be saying no more. Okay? Now, when you say no, it's not a hot no, because now you're going back to the command and control of, oh my gosh, I have an entitled teen, so I need to say no a lot more. I just need to say no all the time. Yeah, that doesn't work either. You say no compassionately, but listen to this. You stop making your teen the center of your world, so they stop believing that they are the center of the world. I'm going to say that one more time. You say no compassionately and with conversation and discussion. Because when you stop making your teen the center of your world, they will stop believing they are the center of the world. Okay? Yeah, and so your teenagers like to use that against you. Well, you had us, so now you have to blah blah blah. No, you don't. No, you don't have to. Just because they want something, you are not at their beck and call. Your purpose as a parent is not to fulfill their every whim and desire. That's BS. No, it's not. Your job to end entitlement is to begin modeling respect. And that means saying no, but it's how you say no that's important, and also looking at what is the story that you have about what a good and loving and noble parent is, so that you're not hooked by your own story and then resentful of your teen and you're blaming them for the way you are thinking, or blaming your teen for the way you are behaving, when it's your thinking that's driving your behavior, right? Okay. So instead of being a yes person, this is the other counterintuitive thing you do. Instead of being a yes person or a hard no control, those are very opposing, extreme versions of the scale, okay, as being a yes person or a hard no control person. You get curious about their request with a few key questions to support your teen to think about how can they create their own experience. How can they create a little bit, not all, but a little bit of self-sufficiency, and fill that need on their own, which builds confidence. It supports their executive development in problem solving, critical thinking, resilience. And as they are having this conversation with you because you were curious, you are building connection. You are actually encouraging them to determine what is the need and ways that they might, not all the time, might be able to fulfill that need on their own. And self-sufficiency is quite opposite to entitlement. So it's really very counterintuitive. Now, here are 3 keys to confirm that the current strategy you are using to end entitlement in your teen is not working. Number 1, you have repeat offenses. So the entitlement continues despite punishment, requests, bribery, taking their phone, their tech. That's a huge red flag, okay? That the behavior just keeps continuing, is that your strategy is not working. Number 2, emotional distance. When your teen will only talk to you when they want something, and then they even talk down to you or rude to you or get like really snippy, which teenagers already do get super snippy because they're emotional, and the teenage brain is self-centered. Like that's a function of the teen brain development, is they're quite self-centered, okay? So, but when they are talking down to you, like that you are their commodity, you're their chauffeur, their cook, their maid, their servant, you are there to fulfill their needs, that's a problem. That's a big problem, because you end up feeling more resentful and frustrated. And although you desperately miss the connection that you had with them as a child, and you want that with them as a teen, you want to connect with them, you really don't like being treated that way. So now you both are avoiding each other because it's so painful. And the third way to know that your strategy is not working to end entitlement is there's a lack of open discussion. So your teenager only asks you when they want something. They really don't share anything else about their life, about what they're thinking, their social life, schooling. They don't share anything with you. So nobody really ever says what they're feeling unless you're at the total tipping point and you're losing your ever loving and you're blowing your top. You're afraid to poke the bear and be seen as vulnerable because your entitled teen is already using that to their benefit. So the emotional safety needed to engage in understanding each other and setting healthy boundaries that model respect, it's not there. It's not there. Okay, so to summarize, this video was the secret sauce to ending entitlement in your teen. We talked about like how it feels, how it shows up. Number 1, why traditional discipline or punitive measures erode the respect you're actually trying to teach your teen. You're trying to teach them to be respectful, but that actually erodes it. Number 2, why making your teen earn their privileges will bite you back later. And number 3, how your attempts to keep the peace and have your teen feel really loved actually create more entitlement. And number 4, the 3 ways to confirm that your current strategy is not working. If you are tired of this entitlement cycle, you know that you're a good parent, but you're not sure where things went off the rails and you want to change the dynamic between you and your teen, then if you're watching here on Facebook in the Village, I want you to click the link below to get on the wait list for my signature program. It opens again in 14 days. There's no obligation or anything weird to get on the wait list, but you will be notified when the program opens. If you're watching here on Instagram, there will be a word that you can type. I'm going to say support. And on YouTube, and you can get that. So I want to thank you for watching and for playing my experiment while I do live on Instagram and live on Facebook on 2 different devices. This was my secret sauce on how to end entitlement in teens. Again, my name is Allie Payne, and I look forward to seeing you on Thursday for more on parenting teens and how to create the relationship that you want based on mutual respect and trust. Bye, everybody.